WWE is embarrassing themselves. Now, I've said this countless times. If the majority of your fan base are criticizing your product, if the majority of your fan base are criticizing your content, then you know you're doing something wrong. And guys, I was right because Triple H clearly knows he's doing something wrong. So Triple H and Nick Khan have made a bunch of nonsense statements during what should be the best week of the year, which is WrestleMania week. So we gotta talk about this. So first off, I want to talk about Triple H here, alright? This guy, he's going on interviews during WrestleMania week, and he's saying, guys, please don't criticize this, guys. Don't be critics, be fans. That's what he said, quote unquote. Don't be critics, be fans. Just be fans. Like, it's clear that the criticisms have gotten to this guy, and he can't handle the heat. He can't. Triple H seems to have forgotten that part of being a fan is being a critic. If you're not going to criticize what you watch, like this is something I grew up watching, WWE, professional wrestling. And if it's not good, if it's really not putting out good content, and as a fan, I am going to criticize it. I'm not just going to blindly watch and consume, all right? That's not what a fan is supposed to do. If it's not good, then we gotta criticize. We have the right to criticize. And you, as head of creative, you're supposed to listen to those criticisms and you are supposed to act on it. I mean, sure, if there's only like a few hundred or a few thousands of people, hating on the product, saying this is not good, that is not good. Yeah, maybe it's just a loud minority, so let's leave them aside. But the majority of your fan base are complaining now. If you open up social media and you look at the comments on their Instagram posts, or you look at the tweets and stuff like that, you see that the majority of the fans are unhappy with the product right now. They're unhappy with how WrestleMania is being handled. And that's another thing that Triple H talked about. He said that social media is not real life, and the criticisms we see on social media is not real because we see tens of thousands of people in an arena chanting and cheering all the time. That makes no sense, man. That makes absolutely zero sense. These people, they paid for their tickets months in advance, right? And they're there for a good time. If you paid for a ticket, you're going to want to have as much fun as possible. Just because the booking is trash, it doesn't mean you're not going to yeet with Jay Uso. Just because the booking is trash, it doesn't mean you're not going to sing along to, Cody Rhodes' theme song and go, whoa! Like, it makes no sense. If you're in the crowd, you have to participate and you have to have fun. That's literally the whole point. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying crowd reactions are not important at all. That would just be stupid. But saying that your internet fan base criticizing your product is not real, just because you have tens of thousands of people in the arena chanting and cheering, it makes no sense. Because like I said, it's not just a loud minority of fans that are complaining right now. Majority of the fans are unhappy with the product right now. And how else are they going to express it? How else are people going to express their, they're unhappy with the product? Obviously, they're going to go to social media. They're going to tweet about it. They're going to post about it on Instagram or make videos on YouTube about it. When you have a worldwide audience, you have a worldwide fan base, not just the United States, all right? You have fans from all across the world, and most of them don't even get WWE shows. They don't even have live events. So does their opinion not matter because, they're not in the shows? They're not buying tickets? Like, no, man. No. If you want the collective opinion of your entire fan base, of your worldwide fan base, then social media is the best platform. And I get it, Joel. Like I said, multiple times in this video already, I'd get it if it was a loud minority, but the majority of the fan base are complaining now. So you gotta do something about it instead of crying about it and defending yourself. But even then, the numbers don't lie, Triple H. You might talk about how, there's so many fans, tens of thousands of fans in the arena every single night. They're all chanting for Cody Rhodes. They're all chanting for Roman Reigns. They're doing this, they're doing that. WWE's on fire right now. But when you face the facts and look at the numbers, you realize that WWE is on a downward spiral right now. Look at last year's Road to WrestleMania. You had sellouts after sellouts after sellouts after sellouts. Raw was a sellout. SmackDown was a sellout every single week for I don't even know how many weeks in a row. That's good business right there. That's called being on fire. Now, WrestleMania still has 4,000 seats left for sale. And not just that. Not just the ticket sales. How about we look at the fact that the Monday Night Raw viewership, ever since they moved to Netflix, has been dipping constantly. They went from pulling 6 million on their debut episode to now pulling, 2 to 3 million consistently globally. Globally, 2 to 3 million. Are you kidding me? That's like nothing. Being on Netflix too, that's crazy. You're pulling 2 to 3 million globally and you have this ego, dude? Like, come on. Like, I get it. Obviously, Triple H is not going to go out in public and say, oh yeah, WWE, we're struggling right now. We can't pull viewers. Or he can't say that, obviously. But the fact that he has the audacity to point fingers at us, and say that the fans are being critics instead of being fans. Like, dude, we're being critics instead of fans because you're not good at your job. Get that through your thick skull. Like, he even talked about the criticism that Jay Uso has been getting. He's like, oh, Jay Uso, he's so over though. He brings merch, he brings this, he brings that. That's box office. We don't care if he's good in the ring. This push is organic. That's all we care about. First of all, this push is nothing but organic, alright? Jay Uso being in the world title match at WrestleMania is not organic. It feels super forced. And second of all, okay, you gave Jay Uso this push because he moves merch, he's over with the crowd and all that stuff, and now he's going to be, in the world title match at WrestleMania. Okay, fine. But are you doing a remotely decent job at building that up? Are you doing a remotely decent job at keeping the fans excited for this match? Because that's what you should be doing as head of creative on the road to Mania especially. But are you doing that? Absolutely not. Because all you do is just milk this guy's entrance, give him 8-minute entrances just to milk the crowd reactions and, put it all over Instagram Reels and TikTok and you show off about, oh, look at this crowd, guys. Look at how much this crowd loves Jay Uso and just get millions of views from it. And put absolutely zero emphasis on what actually happens in the ring, on what stories are told in the ring, on what promos Jay Uso's cutting, what matches Jay Uso's cutting. Really nothing. None of that stuff. Only entrance, alright? That's all they care about. Just clip farming his entrance. So the criticism that Jay Uso is getting, it's your fault, alright? It's Triple H, it's your fault. Maybe if you actually booked him right, after winning the Royal Rumble, if you actually gave him good promos, if you gave him, good matches, or if you gave us even remotely decent segments between Gunther and Jay Uso, maybe we wouldn't be criticizing Jay Uso as much. So really, this guy, Triple H, is just one big fraud that just can't handle the heat and points the fingers at us when he can't do his job. Like, have we ever seen Vince McMahon do... Alright, first of all, I just want to make it clear that I am not endorsing Vince McMahon. I'm not one of those bring Vince McMahon back type of guys. I don't support anything he did. I'm glad he's gone. We're moved past that. But, did you ever see this guy go on an interview and say, oh, fans are criticizing Roman Reigns too much. But I'm pushing him because he's this, he's that. The fans, they're crying too much. No. Like, no, right? That's your job. If you're producing content, you're gonna get criticized for it. But anyways, Triple H is not the only one that was spewing nonsense during this WrestleMania week. It was also WWE's president, Nick Khan. So Nick Khan actually had some comments about AEW, He said that WWE is like the underdog here, and they like being the underdog. They like being underestimated and stuff like that. So they can really show everyone what they're made of. So you're telling me that this is what you're made of? For the past 5 months, the kind of content you've been putting out, that's what you're made of? Are you kidding me? And then he has the audacity to say, oh, AEW, they have a lot of talented wrestlers, and, maybe when they're available to talk, we're going to talk to them, and, a lot of them are going to jump ship, because here, in the WWE, we never sign talent and just keep them in catering. That's not what he said word for word, but that's basically what he said, and that's just crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy. Again, I'm not expecting these guys to go on interviews and say, yeah, guys, we're doing terrible right now. Our product sucks, blah, 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 all that stuff. But it's just really crazy when they think their fans are dumbasses and they can't see the blatant lies. They can't see through the blatant lies that they're telling us. What happened to WWE being the, oh, we're bigger than this kind of people, I remember way back when, WWE wouldn't even acknowledge AEW the slightest. They would not acknowledge AEW as competition. If they get asked about AEW, they'd say, yeah, they're not our competition. We're two completely different, companies. Their success does not affect us. And they basically never acknowledged the competition like that. That was much better than whatever they're doing now. Because, they're just being as petty as AEW at this point. And the worst part is that this is during WrestleMania week, dude. During the road to your biggest show, instead of focused on building that, you're taking these petty cheap shots at AEW. Wow, dude. Just wow. So I think at this point it's pretty obvious that WWE has seen that the majority of their fan base are criticizing them, but for some reason, they refuse to act on it. They know they're doing something wrong, but instead of locking in and, doing something about it, they're doubling down and pointing fingers at the fans. And that sucks because the number one thing about the Triple H era when it first started was that, we were actually going to start getting what we wanted, The fans were starting to have a voice. That's how Triple H built his reputation. Oh, man of the people, someone who actually listened to the fans. Oh, you guys want CM Punk back? Sure, let's do it. The fans wanted, let's do it. That's literally what he said, all right? In the press conference at Survivor Series in 2023, he said, if the fans want it, I will get it done. So this guy built his reputation as someone that listens to the fans, as, the man of the people. And he didn't even do anything crazy, he was just doing the bare minimum. And now that he's just creatively burnt out, and he knows that his booking sucks, and he knows that the fans are not liking it, he's pointing fingers at the fans instead of actually taking responsibility for his job. Someone pointed out that WWE now feels like Game of Thrones Season 8, and I can't agree more, dude. If this is the direction that WWE continues to go in, if this is how WWE is going to be from now on, it's really a downward spiral, dude. It's just a matter of time until their eventual downfall. Obviously, I'm not saying they're going to go out of business or whatever. That's obviously never going to happen, but still, this so-called boom period that they keep saying they're on has been over for months now, maybe even a year. And WWE is just going to continue catering to their casuals who has like half a brain cell and just consumes everything they give them. Anyways, that is it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.